Hello everybody. I've got some information here and it's quite interesting, and I want to thank John C. I am sorry it's taken me so long to get to this video, but thank you very much for the information you have sent, and it started me down a huge network of rabbit holes. So thank you very much. He sent the clip I'm about to show and a link to this foundation, this trust fund that is giving Watchtower money. So I started digging and I found some interesting things. So, oh my goodness, I don't have a script, so you'll have to excuse me. First, I want to mention that when I first saw this clip and John had told me what timestamp to go watch, it was like, oh, this is interesting. Now, I know many in this community don't care for Fritz Springmeier because they think he's just a conspiracy theorist and, oh, he's a nutter and all of that. You know, the regressive elder side of the movement. But when you start finding some evidence to back this up, it's like, okay, is it really conspiracy theory or is it actually truth? Now, when I started searching, a couple of threads came up on JehovahWitness.com. Now, a couple of people brought this name and this information up 10 years ago on this forum, and they were shut down immediately. Oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. That person never existed. Oh, that was just Freddie Franz's nurse. No conspiracy theory here, move along. Okay, then I have to ask, if it's just a conspiracy theory and this person didn't exist, then why did he get so much money for so long from this trust fund, and even after Freddie Franz was dead? And they have him listed as a missionary? Okay, now I know that's a whole bunch of teasers that I'm going to be covering. Now, I want to show a clip. This is Fritz Springmeier, the Prophecy Club, and the name of the video he did is called Illuminati Bloodlines. And whether you believe it or not, you know, that is entirely up to you. I have a few opinions of my own, but I want to focus on the facts. Now listen carefully to what he says in some names that he is talking about.
Okay, so then the next step is they realized knowledge is power. And they realized that if you say, I have hidden knowledge, people have to come to you for that hidden knowledge. You create an instant power base. So the first element that Satan uses in setting up a Gnostic religion is hidden knowledge. Now the next thing is you can't give away all your hidden knowledge at once, or you've just given away your power base. So you have to dish it out in increments. If you're a Mason, you receive it incrementally as you go through an initiate degree system. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you receive it incrementally by staying in touch with, and this is a direct quote, God's channel of communication. You incrementally receive Watchtower and Awake magazines. Or if you're in some Pentecostal churches that make you dependent upon this prophet who has revelation knowledge that no one else can give you, then that's another example of how this hidden knowledge makes you dependent upon a religious system. Now the next criteria, the next thing that they use in setting up a Gnostic religion is that you can't get the devotion from the common masses that you can from an initiate group. So you set up two different religions. You set up one for the broad masses and one for the initiates. And then you establish a cover ruling body, and then at the top, the key men are Satanists. So let's take the Jehovah's Witnesses, for example. There we've got the great crowd who are promised life on earth. and then we've got the anointed, promised heaven, and then their governing body, and then their key men. In 1991, I came out with a reference book, Be Wise as Serpents, which was 800 pages, sort of like a Young's Concordance of the New World Order. And I tried to go through many different groups and show how they had been created and how they were being manipulated and controlled. And for instance, with the Jehovah's Witnesses, here up at the top, we've got a man named Nathir Salih. He was an Iraqi Jew and he loves nice, expensive jewelry. And the president of the Watchtower Society, the late one, Freddie Franz, recently died, for many years, for many decades, had been on his deathbed. And he was considered to be the leader of the Watchtower Society. Nobody even knew about Nathir Salih, but whenever there needed to be a decision by this man on his deathbed, who died at 99, Nathir Salih would go into his room and come out with the answer.
Now, he mentioned a name, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but Nathir Nahil. Nahil? Okay, that name popped up. Now, why would he bring that name up so long ago? Okay, and that's the name we're going to be looking at. Now, like I said, a lot of the forums said, oh, that person never existed, it's just a conspiracy theory, it was just Freddie Franz's nurse, move along, right? And whether you want to believe that he is at the top of Watchtower or not, I don't know. I don't have any evidence for that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to turn my camera around to my screen, and I'm going to go through this information that John sent me. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. Now here on the ProPublica website, you see Nonprofit Explorer, Research Tax-Exempt Organizations, John and Angela Shaheen Charitable Trust, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And they have, as you can see, the IRS 990 forms. Now I am going to open 2014 here so we can cover this and you can see. And like I said, whether you want to believe this or not, but there does seem to be some evidence. Before I show their 990 and talk about this trust, I just want to give you a little bit of background. Here in the Dalton Daily Citizen, Shaheen, it goes on to talk about his life. But this is basically his obituary, and it was an article in Dalton, Georgia, and how they started a floor company, and very interesting. But I want to scroll down in the article, and I'm going to put the link down below. Now this is his son. John Shaheen said his father was a devout member of the Jehovah's Witnesses. His faith was an important part of his life, he says. And he was even inducted into the World Floor Covering Association Hall of Fame in 1994. In 1998, Mohawk Industries acquired World Carpets, their company. Now, anybody who's had any flooring knows Mohawk flooring. In fact, the flooring we just put down just happened to have been made by them. They're like a world-known company. Huge. Huge. And like I said, this is basically the dad's obituary. But when you go over to John and Angela Shaheen Charitable Trust, this is on the ProPublica website. You can scroll down, you can see their IRS forms are available. I am going to click on 2014's and go through this because I thought this was very interesting. Now we're scrolling through their IRS form. You know, this is all the information they have to give the government, their total net assets. See, and they had investment income from Mohawk Industries, so this is probably where they got a lot of their money, because you can see how many shares, 500 shares, and they were selling it. They were selling this stock, and so they had a lot of money coming in. Capital gain net income, $197,000. And I know this is all very boring and stuff, but just to give you a little bit of background and foundation, because this is interesting. They have the trustees, and as we know, they have to give the IRS information if they're going to claim these deductions that I am showing here. They have to show where they went. And that is where it gets interesting, and where we're interested and where we're going to be looking. See, they were a 501c3. All right, here we go. This is Part 15, Line 3, grants and contributions paid during the year or approved for future payment. Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, Dalton, Georgia, $2,500. Cross Plains Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, $5,500. They donated to a college, a greenhouse. Harmony Lakes Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, $1,000. Humane Society, good for them. Lake Allatoona Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, $2,500. And if you notice, it always has operating funds and congregation. Now this is where it gets interesting. See right here? Here is this Nathier Salil. His address is the same as Watchtower's was at this time in Brooklyn. And it has him listed as a missionary. Operating funds, $8,000. $8,000. So this is a real person. This wasn't a conspiracy theory. This was a real person. Freddie Franz died in what, 1993? So in 2013, why did they give him $8,000 and his address is in Brooklyn, Watchtower, and he's listed as a missionary? Guess what? We have another person listed here, Columbia Heights, Brooklyn, New York, as a missionary. He got $2,500. North Dallas Congregation Jehovah's Witnesses operating funds, $1,000. Regional Building Committee of Jehovah's Witnesses, $6,000. Okay, right here, Watchtower, Brooklyn, New York, publication operating funds, $150,000. $150,000. And when you start opening up, you know, these PDFs here, it just gets to be a tremendous amount of money. And several other of their PDFs, they are giving money to congregations. They gave one congregation money for new carpeting. And they've given grants to several other missionaries. So why are there so many large payouts to humble missionaries? I just have to ask. But they started sending Watchtower money in 2004. So you can, scroll down and down here to 2004, and you can see and open that up and go through any of these. And we found several other trust foundations that Watchtower is raking money in from. And this is just a few that we know of. How many hundreds of trust funds are they raking money in on? Everybody knows about the Henrietta Riley. But I mean, it's just a tremendous amount of money. And so, I wanted to do this video and just show you that sometimes there's always a little bit of truth in what people would call conspiracy theories. And that's why I don't like that word. I like to call it agenda analyst. Because you can always find truth in some of these claims. So no matter what you think of, Fritz Springmeier or some of these claims, this shows that there was some evidence that he was getting money as a humble missionary, a grant. He got grants for years. And 2010 he got grants. Watchtower got grants. 2011 Watchtower got $13,500. So it's interesting when you start actually digging. So, instead of just throwing things out there, oh, that's not real, this is a conspiracy theory, all of that, how many times have those people been proven wrong? Right? So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you keep continuing to dig. And instead of just immediately dismissing some information that may come out, I know Fritz Springmeier has been on 6 Screens a couple of times now. And whether you agree with him or not, just listen to what he's saying. And maybe if he mentions a name or some of this information, just start doing some digging. Because look at what I found in just a few hours of digging. That, yeah, there does seem to be some truth to this. And I really want to know, why was he still getting money after Freddie Franz died if he was just the nurse? Right? And I want to thank everybody for the cards and the birthday cards and stuff. I am going to be hitting the big 6-0, and so I'm going to go have a me day and do something fun, some things that I've always wanted to do. So thank you for watching, and you all have a wonderful day. Bye.